Hello, everybody. Hope you can hear me okay. I have a fan running in the background, so if that is too loud today, let me know and I will change it. How's everybody doing on this Friday? Let's see who all we have in here. We have Mel Nettie, Living Free Zip Codeless, Shanna Craft. We have Linda R. Happy Place Camping. Hitch Up and Tow. And Thrifty Angela. Nursing our travel bug. Hello, everybody. So let him sit down. Hear ya? Don't hear the fan. Perfect. Thank you. Yes, it's definitely a TGI Friday. I swear this week, I feel like I say this every week, but this week, for some reason, I thought Tuesday all day. I thought it was Wednesday. And then when Wednesday came, I felt like it was not Wednesday. I don't know what day I thought it was. I've just been mixed up all week long, and it seems like it's spread like the week out and just made it really, really long. But we're on Friday. Good to go. And Friday nights is going to be true crime nights. And tonight we're going to start off with Mary Bell, a 11-year-old serial killer. Now, she only had 2 victims, but her first victim was when she was 10. Her second one was when she was 11, or like verging on 11, and then she was convicted when she was 11. We'll get into the story, but it's crazy because I've seen documentaries of children in prison and stuff like that, but I don't think I've ever really dove into a serial killer child, especially a female serial child. I can't even say it right now. It's creepy. It's extra creepy. Like Happy Place said, it's extra creepy when kids kill. Yeah. Hey, Linda Barker. Yeah, 10 years old. So I've gathered a couple different articles, and the first article is going to kind of explain Mary Bell's family background, how she grew up, and the crimes she committed. The second article will go into a little bit about the 2 families and how they felt later on with things, and then the impact it had on one of the families in particular. So that's kind of what we're going to cover tonight. And I will go ahead and start reading this first article, and that's going to explain her childhood and what led up to it and the crimes themselves. So Mary Bell killed 2 young boys in 1968. When she was released from prison after serving only 12 years, she was only 23 years old. Can you imagine? She killed 2 people and she only served 12 years. That's crazy to me. So, in other words, Mary Bell was only 10 when she started committing her murders. But her experiences of violence didn't begin there. Pain and death were her companions almost from the moment of her birth. The beginning of a child killer. And I'll link all these articles after I'm done in the description below so you can check them out if you want. The beginning of a child killer. Mary Bell was born to Betty, a 16-year-old prostitute who reportedly told doctors to take that thing away from me when she saw her daughter. Things went downhill from there. Betty was often away from home on business trips in Glasgow, but her absences were periods of respite for the young Mary, who was subject to abuse, both mental and physical, when her mother was present. Happy Place said, well, hopefully she was fully rehabilitated. We'll see. Betty's own sister witnessed Betty try to give Mary away to a woman who had been unsuccessful trying to adopt. The sister quickly recovered Mary herself. Mary was also strangely accident-prone. She once fell, it's in parentheses, from a window. On another occasion, she accidentally overdosed on sleeping pills. Some attribute the accidents to Betty's determination to rid herself of the inconvenience of Mary, while others see the symptoms of Munchausen syndrome by proxy. Betty longed for the attention and sympathy her daughter's accidents brought her. According to later accounts, given by Mary herself, her mother began to prostitute her out when she was just 4 years old. Though this remains uncorroborated by family members, they did know, however, that Mary's young life had already been marked by loss. She had seen her 5-year-old friend run over and killed by a bus. Hey, Uncle Lisa. Welcome, welcome. So this is just the beginning of this poor girl's life. And yeah, she's a serial killer, and I called her a poor girl, but I can't imagine that horrific of a life. By 4 years old, her mom was prostituting her out. Like, there's no way she was going to turn out okay at that point. Hey, Tinks. I hope you get a good night's sleep. All right. Given all that had happened, it did not surprise them that Mary, by the age of 10, had become a strange child, withdrawn and manipulative, always hovering on the edge of violence. But there was a lot they didn't know. A pattern of violence and an obsession with death. 4 weeks before her first murder, Mary Bell had been acting strangely. On May 11, 1968, Mary had been playing with a 3-year-old boy when he was badly injured in a fall from the top of an air raid shelter. His parents thought it was an accident. The following day, however, 3 mothers came forward to tell police that Mary had attempted to choke their young daughters. A brief police interview and a lecture resulted, but no charges were filed. Then on May 25th, the day before she turned 11, Mary Bell strangled 4-year-old Martin Brown to death in an abandoned house in Scotswood, England. She left the scene and returned with a friend, Norma Bell. Now, Norma Bell had no relation to Mary Bell. They just happened to have the same last name. So she left the scene and returned with a friend, Norma Bell. No relation, to find they'd been beaten there by 2 local boys who had been playing in the house and stumbled upon the body. Police were mystified. Besides a little blood and saliva on the victim's face, there was no obvious signs of violence. There was, however, an empty bottle of painkillers on the floor near the body. In the absence of better information, they assumed Martin Brown had swallowed the pills and his death was ruled an accident. But Martin's screaming family might have started to suspect otherwise when little Mary Bell showed up on their doorsteps in the days after Martin's death and asked to see him. His mother gently explained to her that Martin was dead, but Mary said she already knew that. She wanted to see his body in the coffin. Martin's mother slammed the door in her face. Shortly after, Mary and her friend Norma broke into a nursery school and vandalized it with notes taking responsibility for Martin Brown's death and promising to kill again. Police assumed the notes were a morbid prank. For the nursery school, this was just the latest in the most disturbing of series of break-ins. They wearily installed an alarm system. It was a smart choice, because it caught Mary and Norma at the scene of the crime several nights later. But as they were simply loitering outside when the police arrived, they were let off the hook. In the meantime, Mary was telling her fellow classmates that she had killed Martin Brown. Her reputation as a show-off and a liar prevented anyone from taking her claims seriously. That is, until another young boy turned up. Hey, hippie. Yeah, it is pretty disturbing. Like, She went to the kid's house that she murdered and asked to see his body. And she's still walking around at this point, right? So, Mary Bell kills for a second time. On July 31st, 2 months after the first murder, Mary Bell and her friend Norma killed 3-year-old Brian Howie by strangulation. This time, Bell mutilated the body with scissors, scratching his thighs and butchering his genitals. When Brian's sister went looking for him, Mary and Norma offered to help. They searched the neighborhood, and Mary even pointed out the concrete blocks that hid his body. But Norma said he wouldn't be there, and Brian's sister moved on. When Brian's body was finally found, the neighborhood was panicked. 2 boys were dead in as many months. The police interviewed local children, hoping someone had seen something that would lead to a suspect. They received a shock when the coroner's report came back. As Brian's blood had cooled, new marks appeared on his chest. Someone had used a razor blade to scratch the letter M onto his torso. And there was another disturbing note. The lack of force used in the attack suggested Brian's killer might have been a child. Mary and Norma did a poor job of disguising their interest in the investigation in their interviews with the police. Both acted strangely. Norma was excited and Mary evasive, especially when police pointed out she had been seen with Brian Howie on the day of his death. On the day of Brian's burial, Mary was spotted lurking outside his house. She even laughed and rubbed her hands together when she saw the coffin. They called her back for a second interview. And Mary, perhaps sensing investigators were closing in, made up a story about having seen an 8-year-old boy hit Brian on the day he died. The boy, she said, had been carrying a pair of broken scissors. That was Mary Bell's big mistake. The mutilation of the body with scissors had been kept from the press and the public. It was a detail known only to the investigators and one other person, Brian's murderer. Both Norma and Mary broke down under further questioning. Norma began cooperating with police and implicated Mary, who herself admitted to being present during Brian Howie's murder, but tried to place the blame on Norma. Both girls were charged and a trial date was set. So what y'all thinking so far? See, Nettie said cray cray. I see horses in the chat. All right. The trial of 11-year-old Mary Bell and her accomplice Norma Bell. At trial, the prosecutors told the court that Bell's reason for committing the murders was solely for the pleasure and excitement of killing. Meanwhile, the British press referred to her as evil born. Happy Place says, think they're evil. Thrifty Angela says, that is crazy. Linda R. says, wow. All right. The jury agreed that Mary Bell had committed the murders and handed down a guilty verdict in December. Manslaughter, not murder, was the conviction, as court psychiatrists had convinced the jury that Mary Bell showed classic symptoms of psychopathy and could not be held fully responsible for her actions. Norma Bell was regarded as an unwilling accomplice who had fallen under a bad influence. She was acquitted. The judge concluded that Mary was a dangerous person and a serious threat to other children. She was sentenced to be imprisoned at Her Majesty's pleasure, a British legal term that denotes an intermediate sentence, basically until the powers that be feel like it's appropriate to let her out. Apparently, the powers that be were impressed with Bell's treatment and rehabilitation and felt like it was appropriate to let Mary Bell out in 1980. She was released on license, which meant that she was technically still serving her sentence, but was able to do so while living in the community under strict probation. Additionally, Mary Bell was given a new identity to provide her with a chance at a new life and protect her from tabloid attention. Even still, she was forced to move several times to escape hounding by tabloids, newspapers, and general public, which somehow always found a way of tracking her down. Nomadic hippie, you got nothing on this girl. Things grew worse for Belle after she had a daughter in 1984. Belle's daughter didn't know about her mother's crimes until she was 14, when a tabloid paper was able to find Belle's common-law husband and thus track Belle down. Soon a slew of journalists surrounded her house and camped out in front of it. The family had to escape their home with bed sheets over their heads. Today, Belle is in protective custody at a secret address. Both she and her daughter remain anonymous and protected under court order. Some feel she doesn't deserve the protection. June Richardson, the mother of Martin Brown, told the media, "It's all about her and how she has to be protected, as victims were not given the same rights as killers." Nevertheless, Mary Bell remains protected by the British government today, and court rulings protecting the identities of certain convicts are even unofficially referred to as Mary Bell orders. All right, so that's the history of how she grew up, the murders, and the case. Be nice to Aunt at once, you silly muppet, Uncle Lisa. I get why she went so off the rails because of the family life she had, but I'm a little disappointed, or more than a little disappointed, in the government. Not only did they give her a very light sentence and hope that she was rehabilitated, but then she went out in the public and they protected her so that people couldn't find her, and then she had a child. Who's to say she wouldn't harm that child? And then, even if she didn't harm that child turned 14 and saw in the tabloids that her mother was a serial killer. That's got to do damage to yet another human being. So I just kind of don't understand the way the government works sometimes. It's very, very confusing to me. All right, let me go up here. Hippie said, rumor has it there was a co-op between Europe and the United States, and she actually moved to South Dakota and lives a quiet life as a meat packer. 13 Angela says, wow, that's a crazy story. I've never heard of this case. Very interesting. Yeah, this is a new case for me. I'd never heard of it until I started researching it. Thrifty Angela said she should have definitely served more time. Government definitely dropped the ball on this one. Well, I agree. Now we're going to go over to this other story. I'm going to read a couple of things. There's two different sides to the victims. The victims had two different opinions on how this should proceed after she was released. I gotta find it here, sorry. All right. Here we go. A family in turmoil spoke today on how child killer Mary Bell's shadow of evil has blighted their lives. June Richard, 59, has never been afforded protection from the glare of publicity thrust on her by Bell's wicked crimes. Miss Richards' son, Martin Brown, was only 4 when he was killed by 11-year-old Belle in Scotswood, Newcastle in 1968. The schoolgirl who would never admit her sadistic crimes to the authorities went on to mutilate and strangle another Scotswood boy, 3-year-old Brian Howie. Now, June's daughters, Sharon Richard, 30, who wasn't born when her brother was killed, and Linda, 36, who was 18 months at the time, have joined their mother to speak for the first time about their suffering. The highest court in the land is set to rule. This is an old article. They were set to rule on a Monday on whether the notorious strangler should keep her anonymity for life so that her innocent daughter is protected, but it has temporarily divided the Richardsons. June says the ban should remain for the sake of Belle's daughter, while Linda and Sharon want the killer to be publicly shamed. Linda, a married mom of 4 from Gateshead, has never spoken before about growing up with the tragedy. Today, she told the Chronicle, "I was about 10 when I became aware of what had happened to Martin. It was something we kept within the family. All our misery was held within our home. I saw what it did to Mom. I became withdrawn and very protective of my sister. I never trusted anyone. I saw what Mom went through and how she suffered every time Mary Belle's name came up in the papers. Every twist and turn hurt our family so much. We didn't talk at first. It was our only way of coping. I couldn't grow up as a normal teenager because Belle was like a devil in my mind. I didn't know how Martin was really killed until I read what she did in her book. My name was even mentioned in her book. Yet all her brothers and sisters were given the protection of anonymity. I want her to be identified. I want to know where she is and what she's doing. I know she has come to Tyneside on several occasions and had lived here for some time after her release. I look at faces in the street and I think, could it be her? She took my brother's life. She took our lives in the process. I want my children to be protected from her." Belle was jailed in December 1968 after being found guilty of manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility. On her release in 1980, she was given a new identity away from the North. She launched legal action to keep her new identity a secret last year at London's Royal Courts of Justice. A temporary anonymity order had already been granted, lasting until Belle's daughter turned 18, which was in 2002. The order was extended after a special plea by lawyers acting for the Attorney General. Belle's lawyers argued she and her daughter would require protection from the risk of attack and for the protection of their private lives and in the rehabilitation of the mother. On Monday, June Richard, her second husband Brian, and June's daughter stood outside the closed hearing session to get the decision to be made by Dame Elizabeth Butler Sloss, president of the family division. Today, June said, "We are now awaiting a decision which either way will bring more misery to this family. We fear that if Belle is protected for life, she will profit by collaborating on a film or somehow getting paid for her story if she is tracked down by the media." June's children have had to suffer the breakup of her marriage to George, Martin's father, over the strain of the problems bottled up over the years. June of Alderdene, Gateshead, added, "No government official, local counselor, probation officer, or anyone in authority has kept us informed of the legal moves which affect our lives. We have found out about developments only through the media. There is a so-called victims charter, but no one has given us assistance afforded to her to rebuild our lives. I have tried to be strong and protect my children and now grandchildren, but I suffered a nervous breakdown 5 years ago when the book about Belle, Cries Unheard, was published. My children have never spoken about what they have been through. Now they feel they have to stand up for their right to be able to live a normal life without Mary Belle's shadow hanging over them." So, the families were given no protection. Like, as soon as the boys were murdered, their boys' names were put out in newspapers all over, and the families have had to live with this stigma and this darkness and evil hanging over them. Now, the killer, on the other hand, was released from prison, protected. Her daughter's protected, which I get the daughter, protecting the daughter, but the families even went to court to try to stop Mary Bell from being able to publish a book and profit off of it, and it didn't work. They allowed Mary Bell to publish a book and make a huge profit off of the book. That's how she basically made her living and has lived out her life, is off the profits of this book. I think that's disgusting. I think that shouldn't have been allowed at all. Let me go up here and read what you all have to say. Sorry, my phone's going off with urgent alerts. All right, hold on. Yes, Belle wrote a book. Happy Place said, wait, she wrote a book? That's funny, Linda. Happy Place Camping. I told Uncle Lisa's production that Kyle has the perfect hands for the BB doll. I hope the BB doll makes more appearances. That thing's pretty cool. All right, what else we got? Creepy tiny hands. Y'all are funny. Happy Place said, yeah, that. Oops. And that's crap that she gets to capitalize off of murdering someone else's child. Yep, I agree. Thrifty Angela said, agree, disgusting. Happy Place said, very sick. No one should be allowed to profit off of someone's murder. I agree. I do think if the family of the victims want to come out with their story and share what they've been through because of the evil that came into their lives, I think the family should be able to write about their loved one. But I don't understand why murderers are able to write these books. Chris Watts, everybody knows the Chris Watts case. He wasn't even in jail a year, and he had a author writing his book for him. And it's like, you gotta be kidding me. This should not be allowed. They should sit there in prison and rot, as far as I'm concerned. They took somebody's life. So, I don't know. She's out, and last I read, not only does she have a daughter, but she has a granddaughter as well. So, yeah, kind of sickening. Bring back the hanging, Hitch Up and Toe says. Yeah. I think our prison systems are a mess. Don't get me wrong. Because there's people in there serving more time for having marijuana than there are people, than the time that people are serving for murder. The sentencing and the way that the government breaks down is crazy. The amount of time it takes to get judgments in and things like that, because the court systems are so backed up, is insane. But I definitely don't think that murderers should be profiting off of their victims. Hitchup and Toe said, we are too soft these days. I agree. I definitely agree. My hair is on my nerves today. What's new, right? It's always on my nerves. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting story, though. Nomadic Hippie said, Freddy Krueger made a killing. Not only books, but also movies. He's a star now. You know, Freddy Krueger was one of the first scary movies I watched. And in order to watch it, I had a little black and white TV with the rabbit antennas. And I would turn my volume all the way down and just watch the show with no sound. And then kind of learn where the scary parts were. And then slowly, over the next couple times of watching the movie, I would turn the volume up and get more used to it. That was when I was really little, though. Because by the time I was 14, I was working at a funeral home and a haunted house. So I stopped being so scaredy cat. I know a lot of crimes have been turned into movies. And a lot of murderers profit off of it. But I wonder if victims do the same thing and profit. He said, I don't even know how you could have ever worked in a funeral home. I think that would be the most scariest job ever. Well, all we did was like show cars where to park. But our room where we had our coats and stuff were down next to the embalming room. So that was a little creepy. Donald, I love Stephanie Harlow. I think she does amazing research. Her videos are 3, 4, 5 parts sometimes. She's got a great series going on over there. How can a convicted murderer have the right to sue the government over their treatment in jail? I don't know. I do watch a couple of channels where it's people that have been to prison and jail and they are rehabilitated and they're different now and they've been out for like 15, 20 years and they're completely different people. It's a lady that I watch, Christina Randolph is her name. And she talks about how bad jail and prison actually is with the amount of disease and things like that spread, and the drugs and the relationships and things like that. And I've also watched documentaries of people that the main guy of the jail hires to go in and spend 60 days in there and like be undercover, and then they report back to the main guy of the jail and they let him know what things are wrong. And they found a lot of things wrong with the prison systems. However, if you're a murderer, a rapist, a child abuser, any of those things, I really don't care about the conditions that you're living in. And that sounds mean, I'm sure, but if you're going to do the crime and you know where you're going. Now, the lighter stuff, a marijuana charge or not paying your tickets or things like that and you end up in jail, like, I don't think they should have to live in those harsh of conditions. But that's just my opinion. Donald said she is very good. She is. I think it's like Coffee and Crime or something like that is the series she does. It's really good. Welcome back, Nettie. D'Angelo says, I agree. Jail and prison is not supposed to be a vacation. Yeah, it's not. And I do think that they need to clean better so that diseases don't spread as easily. I do believe that the officers should not be sleeping with the inmates. I believe they should figure out a way to stop letting drugs get in there, because why should inmates be allowed to get high? These kind of things I can't figure out. I was watching one of those series, 60 Days In or something like that, recently, and they have tablets where they can watch movies and listen to music, and I'm like, tablets? Really? They should probably just have to stay with their pens and pencils and paper, not have a tablet. But Donald says, yes, it's like coffee time and crime stories. Yeah, there's another, for the girls out there, there's another crime series that is makeup and crime. I haven't gotten to watch her yet, but she's come across my newsfeed a couple of times, and she does Get Ready With Me. She does her makeup and talks about crime stories. Nettie says, that's a no, no, no. No, no, no. Yeah, on the 60-day in where the guy had the tablet, one of the other prisoners borrowed it, and then they broke it because they were jealous they didn't have one. I was like, nobody should have a tablet in jail. Sorry. I don't think they should have those things. But prison. Actually, it was prison. It was the Fulton County. Y'all know I don't speak well. It was the one that starts with an F. It's really famous. But anyway, anybody have any suggestions for stories they'd like me to cover next Friday or in the coming month? October is going to be a cool month. I'm excited for October. Without a tablet, how are they going to order their drugs? True. You gotta be pretty desperate, because you think when you go to prison, you get a chance to start over. Like, it's gonna be hard getting clean. You're gonna go through hella withdrawals. It's gonna be a pain in the butt. But you think you go through those withdrawals, get clean, because it's gonna take you some time to find some connects in prison to get your drugs. So by the time you find the connect, you're probably sober. You probably went through all the withdrawals and all that stuff. So why would you head down that road again and take the drugs that are in prison? Plus, you know how those are getting snuck in the prison. Ain't no way I would want something from that area. Just saying. Just saying. Maybe do a haunted location like the Bucket of Blood Saloon in Virginia City or something like that. Or maybe the Boise State Penitentiary in Idaho from the 1800s. That's a pretty cool place. That sounds cool too. Now on Sundays, we do the hauntings with BB and Nettie. I think most of you have come to that already, but if you haven't, that's pretty cool because we researched the history on different places that are haunted. It's pretty cool. Alligator Man crime in Elmdorf. Hey, RV Underway, how are ya? Nice to see you. That is a word that I have no idea how to pronounce. My country bumpkin self, I guess. Hitchman Toe says, I think jail only works as a deterrent. Once you use it, it loses its power. It's true. Elmendorf, Texas. Hopefully I said it correctly that time. Happy Place says, love the paranormal collab you guys are doing. Thank you, Happy Place. We have a good one coming up this week, too. A really good one. Nettie says, the Ball Brothers. Oh, and anybody that hasn't been over to Nomadic Hippie's channel, he has his ghost cameras set up, and that door always opening behind me. He has his ghost cameras set up, and I think he caught something. From what he was saying, he caught a couple of things in different videos. So, all right. So we have Ed Gaines. Home in Chicago is up for sale. Maybe do something on him. Uncle Lisa, what kind of spooky or murder or true crime or crime in general? Got any major ones over there in Finland? Donald says, do you remember the original Superman, George Reeves? I'm trying to get the case reopened. My uncle took pictures of the police department at the time when he died. All of his pictures were given to me. No, I don't remember that, Donald, but Nomadic Hippie would probably be really interested. If you haven't connected with Nomadic Hippie, you two should connect, because there is a Superman statue cam video, and Hippie knows some people that know a lot about Superman. Hitch up and toe, he's behind you. I'm telling you, always opening that door and coming in. Only when I'm live. Only when I'm live. B says, actually, I'm going to try setting the camera up again tonight and running it. I think I figured a way to work the sound, so I'm going to do a test. I'm just trying to sneak a test in between. Uncle Lisa has Muppet crimes. I'm sure Uncle Lisa's going to come up with something like the old Western saddle sniffing bandit. Uncle Lisa, no, I don't know. I can't think of anything right now. It's because the people in Finland are just so perfect and nice. Right, Uncle Lisa? Just like Uncle Lisa, a total sweetheart. Hitch Up and Toe says, 2011 Norway attacks. I thought the Crazy Muppets thing was cute. Or the saddle sniffing bandit, Uncle Lisa. I mean, that guy's pretty creepy. Oh man. Yeah, tell him to connect with me if he has some of that stuff that may be interesting to the Super Museum. I can get them in contact with each other. If one of the mods can drop Nomadic Hippie's link, and then Donald, I highly recommend going over and getting in touch with Nomadic Hippie. He's also on Instagram under Nomadic Hippie. But I definitely recommend getting in touch with him. He knows a lot of people in Metropolis, Illinois. He knows the owners of the Super Museum in Metropolis. So it'd be a good connection for you. RV underway. Hi all, driving and listening. Well, thank you for listening. Horse crimes with Uncle Lisa. Uncle Lisa said, no, Nettie. No. No horses. I don't know why everyone's so scared of horses on this channel. I mean, what's the deal? I mean, we didn't go to a farm and see anything inappropriate on a live stream one time, I don't think. Hey, a little bit crazy. How are you doing? Are you out on the road or are you home? Thank you, Happy Place, for sharing that. I appreciate it. I just had a moment where my brain completely stopped working. I had a thought and I was getting ready to say it and it just blanked out on me. Uncle Lisa, you scared us for life at the farm, you silly muppet. Hitch up and toe. Made my eyes water. It was just a trip to the farm. Donald said, the pictures I had prove he did not kill himself. My uncle was told to destroy the pictures of George Reeves' dead body when he died. Oh, wow. That's really interesting. Yeah, I don't know a lot about that, but I know Hippie Will and the Super Museum knows a whole lot about all the different actors that played Superman and all that stuff. Oh, no, a little bit. You're spinning. That stinks. Well, if anyone missed the story of Mary Bell, make sure you catch the beginning of it, the beginning of this live, because the story is at the beginning. We've just kind of been chit-chatting here at the end. We got about 10 more minutes, and then we're going to run over and raid New Horizons. And then we have a full schedule this weekend, as always, of lives. So I think there's a campfire tonight. Anyone wants to go and hang out there on Meant to Be Our Beings. And then Sunday, we'll be back here at 5 p.m. and we'll be doing hauntings with Bibi and Melnetty Living Free Goatless. Hippie's on tomorrow, Nomadic Hippie. Tomorrow, 5 o'clock, Hippie, Central Standard Time, I think. Hippie has a hatchet. Hippie better have something when he goes down in the morgue to put up those scary cameras, because he already caught a ghost. So. Oh, and I was talking with Bulldog. A couple people heard me talking with him the other night about the hidden room. And apparently, he's been storing stuff in the hidden room. So he's been, like, messing with whatever's in that room. No wonder the house is suddenly haunted here. Just saying. You should have left that room alone. Thank you, Natty. I appreciate that. Hey, Fordman, a.k.a. Kenneth Oakes. How you doing? I have not seen that Happy Place. Happy Place says, Nomadic Hippie, we started watching Ratchet on Netflix. It's pretty good so far. I have not seen that yet. Nettie says, yes, Bibi and Nettie. I am good, Fordman. I'm actually oh, pizza came. That's good, Thrifty Angela. I think we're going to go magnet fishing tomorrow. Happy Place inspired me to get my boys some magnets, and they're having a friend over tomorrow. So I think we're going to head out and do a little bit of magnet fishing. Hitch up and toe. We want a live stream from the scary hidden room. I'm going to do that. I'm going to work it out. I have to get set up down there. So I have to have enough time to set up down there. So probably we'll do that on a Sunday. But it'll be closer to Halloween. And Hippie's on at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturdays. Happy Place. I love American Horror Story, so getting into this. American Horror Story is good. Happy Place says, magnet fishing is awesome. Hope you find a good place. We're going to go to our local park, and it has a boat ramp, into the river, and there's been all kinds of crazy stuff found around there, so I'm excited. And I get to keep my eye out because in that same park, there are 3 albino deer. There's a set of twins, and then there's an older one, and then there's a middle, like toddler age deer, and they're all white. So, and you have a 1 in 100,000 chance of seeing an albino deer. So I'm excited to go and see if we can see that too. Although Uncle Lisa warned me not to get the deer excited because he didn't want to see that part if I filmed it. 50 Angela says, I want to try magnet fishing so bad now, all because of Happy Place Camping. Right? I had heard of it, but seeing Happy Place do it, I was like, oh, I want to do this. I'm at Warrior Path State Park Campground camping this weekend. Oh, that sounds awesome, Ford man. I hope you have a great weekend. Happy Place says, oh, that should probably be a good spot. Yeah, one of the main roads goes over the river, and then right where the boat ramp is right underneath that main road. So should be a lot of goodies to find there. I watched Happy Place Camping magnet fishing, and they caught a pier. Galisa Production says, no, no, no. That's not the first time Jesse has caught a pier. Yeah, we'll be fishing off like a concrete boat dock. So, should be interesting. Oh, yeah, people probably throw crap off that bridge all the time. Yeah, definitely. And a long time ago, lining both sides of the river, there was like river houses. They were like vacation homes, or you'd go to on the weekend type homes, and they were up. They were lifted, so if it flooded, I'm not explaining this very well, but because that was there, there's also a train track nearby. There's a bunch of stuff, and then a lot of high school kids go down and hang out and drive around in that park. So I'm hoping to have a couple good finds. Thanks. It's my birthday weekend this weekend, and I turned 26 on Sunday, September 27th. Well, happy birthday a little bit early, Ford man. No dish this time. I think I watched the one where you caught a dish, Happy Place. And I think, didn't you catch all the parts to make a fishing rod too? Yeah, we gotta stay close to home. My dad is not doing very well. He's not feeling very well. So we're gonna stay close to home and hopefully see the white deer and be able to take back some more pictures for him with the deer. But it's pretty much my plans for the weekend. Oh, we have caught full fishing rods with reels. Yeah, I thought you did that, and I thought you also caught a rod, a reel, all the different parts for one. It was, I think, 2 or 3 videos I watched of yours, and by the time I got done watching, you had a whole rod and reel. Yes, everybody wish Ford Man, aka happy birthday. That's so sweet of everybody. How's college going, Ford Man? He's caught handles and guts to reels. Okay, that's what it was then. That's what it was. Happily said, oh man, Kenneth Oakes, you're just a baby. Just a baby. Well, I hope you enjoy camping this weekend for your birthday. That's always fun. And if one of my mods can check and see, oh, okay, you already got it. Perfect. Happy place. You read my mind. I was just getting ready to say something about New Horizons, and you already dropped a link. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I didn't get to do trivia this week because I missed Wednesday's live stream, and I apologize. But Wednesdays will be trivia. Friday, true crime. And Sundays will be hauntings with BB and Nettie. That's going to be the schedule from now on. I finally have it a little more organized where I'm not just hopping on here and doing whatever. Figured it was time for me to grow up a little bit, and provide content that you guys will know and expect. You know, maybe. He's fine. They have to, if they show even, I have one that goes to hybrid school. So if they even show like the slightest bit of sniffles or cough or just, oh, I don't feel very good, gotta get him checked. So he's good. Linda R says, Nurse Sarah Travel Bug, you know them? Hitchman Toe, that's what we do. Pop on and waffle. I don't know. I've been doing YouTube now for about 2 years, and at first I was just doing live streams from my car, and that was to like get over being able to just talk because I was so shy with talking. And then I started playing with different content that I wanted to do, different things I wanted to add in, but I never put it on an actual schedule. The biggest schedule I had was Sunday night was always trivia. Other than that, I pretty much came on and did what I wanted when I came on. But now I feel like it's better because I know this night is this night's this night's that. It's a little more organized. Linda R says, I hear NOTB in my head all the time now because of Kyle. Kyle's good at putting things in your head. And Kenneth says, college is great. I passed both my midterm exams this week. I scored an 87 on alignment and brakes exam, and powertrains scored 90, which means I made an A in both classes this far in the term. That is awesome, Kenneth. Tommy Travels, I'm sorry. We're getting ready to raid New Horizons, and the Mary Bell story is at the beginning of this live. But thank you for coming, because Tommy Travels, you are awesome. All right, I'm going to head out just a minute or two early because when Bulldog walked in, he was walking in because my daughter is home. He went and picked her up. So I'm going to head out. I'm going to spend a little time with the kiddos. But thank you all for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all again on Sunday if I don't see you at campfire sooner than that. Wishing you all much kindness and much love. Bye for now.